you think about what the arguments actually are, is that something which is complicated is untrue. So in other words, because there's many choices, it cannot be the case that the choice that I have decided upon, or my family has decided upon, or the environmental situation has put me in, is the correct choice. There's a few fallacies associated with this. The first one is the genetic fallacy. Just because something comes from a certain place, it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means it just comes from a certain place. Just because there are so many options of religions, or let's say there are 6 major world religions, it doesn't mean that, okay, one is right, all of them must be wrong. There's actually no argument against religion there. Then what he says about actually making his own religion is actually an ignorance of what is religion anyways, or what is religion trying to establish for the human being.
Haven't you compounded the problem of man-made religions already?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
I'm just going to make my own religion.
Yeah, so if the issue is that religion is man-made, then absolutely you've just exacerbated that issue, because you've just now made another man-made religion. A true religion, for the most part, usually is one which refers to an ultimate truth coming from a deity, or an entity which claims to be a god. Now, Islam claims to be that, and we would say that if you apply logic, rationalism, and also your own predisposition, you would be most inclined to the Islamic model than any other model. Atheism, the ones that you mentioned, atheism is the idea that literally something has either come from nothing, or as the Quran says, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ, were they created from nothing, or were they themselves the creators of themselves? That something either came from nothing or existed eternally. The universe existed eternally, which is, aside from it being unscientific, is also unsubstantiated. There's no evidence for it. Number 3, أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ, did they create itself? Did it create itself, or did they create themselves? So did the universe exist and not exist at the same time? Also not possible. So atheism is an unsubstantiated logical claim which cannot be substantiated with logical, deductive, inductive, abductive evidences. And so the atheistic position is really, I would say, a response to religion, or to the failure of certain, or perceived failure of Christian religion in the Western Hemisphere.
And that's another response to the man-made religions.
Yeah.
People see through intelligent people and they just discredit all religions.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to, because some people do actually say atheism is a religion. Some people, he mentioned atheism as a religion.
Yeah.
Many atheists wouldn't even put atheism as a religion.
But they have their own set of rituals.
Yeah.
You know, the lucky shirt, lucky charm, you know,
Absolutely.
the aliens in the space. Mm-hmm. They have their own set of beliefs now.
The atheistic narrative, according to postmodernists, is a meta-narrative of some sorts. It attempts to explain the world in a certain way. So atheism is one thing. If you want to consider it a religion, I would say it's one that it is man-made. It's no doubt is something which is definitely man-made, if you want to consider it as a religion, and something which cannot be proven to be true in any case. Hinduism, as you mentioned, is the idea of a multiplicity or a plethora of different gods. This religion doesn't have as absolutist a claim to the truth as the Abrahamic religions in the first instance. You can come to many different conclusions by looking at the Bhagavad Gita and the different the Vedas, for example, in the corpus, the Hindu corpus. It's not really in the same sense absolutist in its objective moral claims. So in other words, it's a religion which doesn't even make the claim that it's absolutely true, in the same way as, let's say, the Abrahamic religions do. Then you're left with Sikhism, which is the 6th major world religion, which is a very recent religion, which once again, some Sikhs would say it's not an absolutist religion. Some would say it is an absolutist religion. It's a difference of opinion. But it's an amalgam of the Hindu and Muslim legacy of the Indian tradition. And we can say that Hinduism, it doesn't comply with either a strict monotheism in so much as that it considers the guru as part of God. And so therefore, the idea of monotheism is obscured with that notion. And moreover, it's not something which has offered any evidences to be a true religion. And despite it being a religion which is born out of, as we say, other religious dispensations, it's not something which has the evidence which we could say, okay, this is a true religion. And that's why it stayed regional. It stayed in the Punjab region in India. So we've covered 3. The other religions now, we could talk about Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Judaism is a religion really which is not a proselytizing religion at any rate. It's not a religion which claims to be for everyone. Frankly, it's a religion which really affirms this idea that the Jews are the chosen people and that the Gentiles are not the chosen people. Then you're left with Christianity and Islam, and then you ask the question.
These are now the Abrahamic religions.
The two Abrahamic religions that are proselytizing religions that are claiming to be absolutely true and that have very solid truth claims.
We've narrowed it down.
We've narrowed it down. So we're left with Christianity and Islam.
We're making it much easier for our brother
making
now.
it easier for him.
Yeah.
Of the major world religions, obviously Buddhism is another thing which is not absolutist, and some people even say it's a religion. So that's why I haven't mentioned it. But with with Christianity and Islam, the question would be now, on a fundamental level, which is more commonsensical, which is more rational, which is more logical, is it the idea that there's 3 in 1 and 1 in 3? The idea that the Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Spirit is God, but there's only one God, which doesn't even add up mathematically. It's not rational. We can trace the historical development of the Trinity. Or the idea that God is one, and that he has a long line of messengers that have come before time, all of them with the same message, that there's no God to be worshipped except for God, and that Muhammad was the final messenger sent to all of humankind, as is mentioned in chapter 7 of verse 158 of the Quran, that he is sent for all of human beings. And so, which you can tell me now of what we've just went through, which is the most rational recourse in terms of religion? You making your religion doesn't solve any problems. It shows intellectual, I'm not going to say intellectual laziness, but I'm going to say it's just a willing to engage with the truth claims on an intellectual level. It's a good thing that you're critical, but your criticality has led you to something which is really a waste of time, in my opinion, obviously. But we do say, if you put your thinking cap back on and you apply the same criticality to kind of assess now the truth claims of the different religions, then you would be surprised that it might have been the case that actually the religion of your forefathers was the most appropriate religion or most rational recourse anyways.
We got a question coming in here saying, what would you say about a person who just wants to be accepting of others and not be constrained by the rules of religion?
What I would say to someone like that is that if you don't want to be constrained by the rules of religion, you'll be constrained by something else. Rousseau, who's a French philosopher, says man is born free but everywhere in chains. Man is born free but everywhere in chains. You think you won't be constricted by the social and economic reality around you, you will be, and you are. And that is the reality. That's what I would say to them. I'll say to them, religion is not something which is actually is confining. It's confining on a superficial level. But Islam in particular is a religion which does take you out of your physical and psychological comfort zone and spiritual comfort zone. But with that you achieve what we would call a higher state of being, a higher state of spiritual being, of living. And so this short-term horizon thinking, where you only think of immediate pleasures, this immediacy is something which is really the Achilles heel of most people in the world, and the major cause of depression and anxiety for the majority of people that live in the Western Hemisphere. So I would say that to that person, that whoever thinks that religion is a constraint to them, or is something which constrains them, that you shouldn't apply that only to religion. Anything is going to constrain you. You're living in a world where there is an X amount of extraneous variables which you cannot control, and those extraneous variables will constrain your choice and your ability to be liberal or otherwise free in the space or the domain in which you live. Therefore, to apply this only to religion is an irrational, you could say, it's not a sensible recourse. And I would say to them also that Islam, spiritually, it gives meaning to everything you do in life. And that's why I really love this hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, which is narrated by Suhaib in Sahih Muslim, where he says, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. He says, wondrous is the affair of the believer. إِنَّ أَمْرَهُ كُلَّهُ لَهُ خَيْرٌ, that all of his affair is good. وَلَيْسَ ذَاكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا لِلْمُؤْمِنِ. And this is not the case for anyone except for the believer. إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ صَرَّاء شَكَرَ. If good things happen to him, he's thankful. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء صَبَرَ وَشَكَرَ. And if bad things happen to him, he is patient and he is also thankful.
This is